Hello, and welcome back to the Plenty of Games Highlander Invitational. I'm Jim Dowling, and I'm joined by Kira.
Hello.
We're back to bring you round 3 of our invite-only 24-player, 5-round competitive rel top 8 7-point Highlander.
It's already been a really fun morning.
Yeah,
Like, we have, what I would consider some of the best players in Melbourne in the room today who are duking it out for, the bragging rights
That's
for
right.
the 2025 series. So,
Yeah, I was chatting to Brendan from Rad Nauseam out there just in between the break there, and he said, look, if you just picked 3 top 8s from like 7-point Highlander tournaments in Victoria and put them all in the same room, it'd probably look like that.
it would look pretty similar,
Yeah,
especially because so many of them travel to go top at other
Yeah.
events all over the state. You end up with a lot of the same people.
Yeah, shout outs to the crew that's up from Geelong. We got
Oh.
some travellers from out southeast. We got at least one from the eastern suburbs as well. Jean is here. So we've got a big smattering of players from all over. Looks like we've got some players down
Ooh.
at the table,
We're getting ready.
and we might be able to head down there and have a look, shall we?
Round 3.
On the top of the screen, we have Christopher Tong playing in the red sleeves. On the bottom of the screen, we have Michael Billinghurst playing in the petrol sleeves, I believe they call that.
Ooh. We're getting technical with sleeve colors now. I love it. And we can see there's a Lutri on Michael's side of the field as well, and that is a Blue Moon staple.
That's right. Yeah, going to be looking to accrue some extra card advantage for no good reason.
Look, I am a Blue Moon player.
Yeah?
I love Blue Moon. It's the deck that I'm currently on. Billinghurst is borrowing some of the cards that he lent me, and I'm giving him back for today, but then he'll lend me again.
Beautiful. The cards are all over the place. Well, on the other side, we have Chris Tong. Look, no stranger to winning. Second place at the most recent regional championship. Does very well in the Highlander series, as you can tell by the fact that he's here playing today. Also at 2-0, and he is on Grixis. Look, we've seen Grixis last round. I think we saw it round 1 as well, although it was a slightly different Grixis. But we're going to be seeing this all day.
Off to a normal start. Polluted Delta grabbing a snow-covered island. This is one of the few decks where your fetches are actually just going to go grab basics most of the time. Look, and not for nothing, this to me says back to basics in hand. If the first thing that you fetch off of your fetch in a Blue Moon matchup is not Thundering Falls, this sounds like either Blood Moon or back to basics.
With the days back up as well.
Wowee! I like this as a really strong tempo play because Grixis's threats are going to be pound for pound way better than Blue Moon's.
Yeah.
Because Blue Moon's threats are Blood Moon.
Yep.
And Harbinger of the Seas and Back to Basics. And 2 of those don't deal damage to your opponent.
So was that turn 1 playing fetching the island and casting Gataxian Probe for the mana instead of the life?
Possibly as well, there are considerations to be made for Pyrogoyf, in the future.
And then this is a turn 3 with untapped and just played a Brainstorm. I had the fetch land. I think there's a second fetch in hand as well. A Prismatic Vista.
Yet again, did that Brainstorm just hit 3 lands? There is a distinct possibility it just hit 3 lands, which is quite unfortunate. But I love as well the Brainstorm with a fetch. You can shuffle away the top of your library should you need to, which that might be something that Michael does in this situation.
Yeah, always possible. Emperor of Bones coming in for 2, or is it going to be Kaito? I was going to say, is it going to be 4? But no, it's going to be Kaito instead. Let's have a look at this Ninja Planeswalker. It's a doozy.
This is a standard all-star, so I'm very familiar with Kaito. Those who like to fall back on Dimir are always able to grab Kaito. Kaito is a planeswalker with ninjutsu, and that ninjutsu is 1 blue-black, and you just have to return an unblocked attacking creature to your hand.
It's just so annoying.
Yeah. It's a good card.
Yeah.
It also has hexproof
Yep.
during your turn when it's a creature. Because that's also a creature and a planeswalker.
Yeah, it would really suck to sort of ninjutsu this guy in and then have him eat a Unholy Heat or Fatal Push or something like that. The fact that it comes in with safety
Mhm.
is very nice. You could even do it if your opponent says no blockers and then removes your creature. Uh, there's that end of turn surveil that you were looking for. Force of Negation, the hit, that's going away.
Force of Negation in the bin is a huge kind of like tempo play. Quantum Riddler is the go. We'll draw a card.
Okay, okay. Well, it doesn't have haste. There's no ephemerate in this list, so just the fair Riddler, the fairest.
The fairest Riddler of them all.
And we do have a warp zone for that Riddler.
Yeah. We'll make sure the Lutri is not warped.
That Lutri is in the companion area instead. We got zones for days here.
This is going to be a replayed Emperor. It's a Ledger Shredder instead.
Okay. And the 0 mana spell, not even having to commit the Preordain, so still able to hold up the Spell Pierce. And we're going to commit the Preordain anyway to the graveyard.
There's a 2-modal card commit memory.
Yep. Well, that puts it third in the library, I believe.
Oh, very good. 15-12, really interesting spot here for Michael staring down this Kaito. Kaito just a notoriously difficult piece to deal with once it's resolved.
Yeah, it's just annoying, truly.
Well, and the ninjutsu ability is really difficult to interact with.
Yep.
You can stifle it. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is it a trigger? Is ninjutsu a triggered or an activated?
It's an activated ability. You could stifle that one. So you can stifle it. You can't consign it. And we're following up with a Tasiga. Lots of beef on the battlefield. Billinghurst really under pressure here. This is an attack next turn for 4, 8, 10, 11 if you can connive. That's assuming making an emblem. It's rough out here. And Billinghurst says that's enough. I'm good, actually.
Billinghurst says, I think my best tech is in the sideboard for this one.
So what are we looking at in the sideboard? Is there potentially like to deal with that board? The Blue Moon card from my era of playing Blue Moon would have been Hour of Devastation. But we don't play that one anymore. Having a look in the sideboard, we're going to see some blasts come in for both of these players. There could be 8 blasts on the table.
Well, and this was something that I mentioned to Ian earlier. Like, do you run the risk of putting too many blasts in because you have to take too much out on the other end?
Yeah, I mean, if they're replacing your other counterspells, like you don't need Spell Pierce if you have a Red Blast, for example. Obviously, they're not exactly the same card, but they're, functionally most of the time the same card. Looking at the rest of the sideboard, I see a Narset Parter of Veils that I'm slightly interested in. I see a Dress Down, which could see some play. It's really good at being one of the few answers to like a Baragoyf that's resolved for red decks.
It's tricky. To me, there's not too much else other than the blast that you'd really want to bring in. Like Soul Guide Lantern, maybe, so you can like kind of deal with the delve that Grixis tends to play in Tasigur. Magmatic Sinkhole has become a little bit more popular lately as well.
Yep.
Especially if there's a Murktide, which there is in Chris's deck.
But also, this is closed decklist, so
this is close. You don't know.
Billinghurst has no idea what Chris is playing. What does Chris's sideboard look like?
Let's look at Chris's sideboard.
I'm seeing blasts. There is only 3 blasts. Chris, of course, not a member of the Blue Ella Melbourne Blasters, so not playing that one, playing the other 3 instead.
Yeah.
Price of Progress is going to be no good here.
Price of Progress would hurt Chris more than it would hurt.
Yeah, I'm really not seeing much in there either.
I mean, you could maybe bring an Opposition Agent in. A lot of the Grixis players have really liked Opposition Agent, but I don't think it's,
Honestly, as a 3/2 flash, like sometimes that can just be good enough. Even if you're not trying to just gotcha, just a way to break the cycle of whose turn it is and who has mana untapped.
Well, and it a 3 mana 3/1 flyer is what took Richard Owen out in round 1.
And in round 2, it was actually just a Nadu attacking for 4 turns in a row.
Yeah.
Eventually supported by an Ice Steel Explorer, but it was just the 3 power. And if you give that card Flash, I mean, not Nadu specifically, but if you give your 3 power beat a Flash, suddenly, your opponent can't just pass turn with all their mana untapped. They have to deal with the cards you played in their end step and the ones on your own turn.
So unacceptable for Nadu to be a 3/4. I thought it was a 2/3 in my head.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't die to anything.
That's misery.
Yeah,
You can't bolt the bird.
No, it's
That's so upsetting.
It's true. Same with Ledger Shredder. To be fair, that's a bird, and you can rarely bolt that guy.
It
He's
is a little
crooked
bit tricky because it's a 1/3
Yeah, until it's not.
until it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
What's your preferred? Are you a pile shuffler? Are you a stack shuffler? Kind of what's your
I got to
vibe?
tell you, I'm a judge,
Oh, no
and
way.
that means that
For how long?
I'm long. I'm not a fan of the pile count, as it were. If I have a soapbox here, I will stand on it. You are counting your deck. You're not shuffling it. It is deterministic where the cards start and where they end. You can do it once per game to make sure that you have 60 cards in your deck. If you do it any more than that, it is either slow play or insufficient shuffling or stalling or cheating.
Interesting. So it's like okay to count to make sure that you got it right and then shuffle.
Yeah, but if you were just going to count to 60, you could do it in many faster ways than that anyway.
Mm.
That's the end of my soapbox. I won't take any more questions on shuffling.
Do you prefer to count to 60 in increments of 2, 3, 5?
I'm a big 5.
6 or 12.
Nah, big 5. You missed 10.
Sorry, that seems so easy. I was so excited to get to 12.
I counted
That's funny.
I counted in 30s, actually. Yeah.
Half of my deck here. Half of my deck here.
Beautiful.
Don't forget your card.
So it looked like he picked up half the deck and knocked a card off and didn't realise. Well, Billinghurst's going to be on the play again. Was on the play for game 1. Didn't manage to convert that into a victory. I think that the days sort of reset being on the play a little bit. And we have Misty Rainforest go. You mentioned fetching Thundering Falls on turn 1. How good is Thundering Falls?
In this deck, it's great.
It's so good.
It's so good in this deck because I have found moons, while the effects that are contained within the deck are incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
You do run the risk of not getting to them.
Yeah. It's a control deck.
And the more ways that you can get there faster, the better off that you will be.
Mm-hmm.
In a game that I was playing against Mardu, here's the fetch Thundering Falls. In a game that I was playing against Mardu, I think I either drew, scryed, or surveilled through 55% of the deck and didn't see it back to basics.
Oof.
And I was hunting for it.
Yeah, wow.
So card refinement in control decks is always going to be really important.
Yep.
And making sure that you can get the exact ones that you want.
Yep.
Also really important. Looked like that was just a land rip straight off the top onto the battlefield. Pass back.
It always feels a little silly, though, when you use your Surveil trigger and you leave it on top. You're like, dang, I missed out. I could have just not got this. I could have got Steam Vents or something else.
Definitely something I said in an earlier round is the place that you don't want to have your surveils is in your hand. You would prefer them in your deck to be fetched off of a fetch land.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The main phase Surveil is disheartening. Because you're making a choice on what's on top of your library and you don't know what you need yet. We've had no action so far. We're at the end of turn 2 here, and we've had Land Surveil and Land Ponder.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's fine. Sink into Stupor as a land.
The Soporific Springs.
Soulguide Lanterns that did come in.
Okay.
Exiling Chris's Graveyard.
Just one card from it, which
Look.
is not the whole thing.
Look, and that'll matter eventually if each player is only casting one spell a turn, it'll take another 5 turns to get to a Murktide Regent.
Yep.
Surveil, back to Billinghurst. And I love the shortcutting that happens here so often as well. Like, we've just left the
All right, we've transformed
land
it now.
frontways. Oh yes, and now it's a land.
Yeah, you can do it when you get a free moment. It doesn't have to be the exact second you play it.
Yeah.
Prismatic Vista. So we do have access to a second basic, which means that any of our enchantments are going to be super powerful if we manage to find one. We see Cling to Dust. I was talking about in a previous match, we were talking about lands against Grixis and how you don't want to go too all in on your graveyard hate, but this Cling to Dust, main deckable, super playable, That's not a card you can just cast there, my friend. Okay, there we go.
I was like, was that an Invocation's Force of Will?
It was an invocation counterspell.
Counterspell.
But
Well, counterspell on your unlicensed house. Thank you very much.
was that a counterspell for Billinghurst?
Yes, that's the Wild Rose Rebellion, which is the Final Fantasy Through the Ages version.
You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head here in the booth.
You just scrolled past it on the scroll up.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for the
for the real one?
invocation one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's okay. No, that was the wrong one there.
There it is.
We go.
Getting specific cards down.
Yeah, I just had to scroll past like
Woo!
50 of these.
This is my favorite Planeswalker. That is the Bloomborough Commander version of Narset, Parter of Veils.
Oh, is that the one that's a silly animal?
Yes. She's a crane of some sort in
I
this
accept
one.
that. You know, there's sometimes I'm like, nah, we don't need silly artworks like 50 different counter spells, but I'll take a bird commander.
Red Elemental
Walker.
Blast met with a
Mana Drain.
loose... Oh, Mana Drain. I thought that was a loose focus.
Yeah, it's not the world's most exciting mana drain. To be fair,
1 mana net off of your Mana Drain, not super exciting.
it's even worse because it's. I mean, I haven't listened to the players and heard, but I'm assuming that this is going to be 1 mana in main phase 2.
Ooh. I suppose then it's just a counterspell, right?
Yeah.
At that point, it's just a counterspell.
I mean, Billinghurst is a pretty heads-up control player, no stranger to playing mana drain. It's very possible that the turn started with untap draw, go to combat, go to main phase 2, cast my Planeswalker, so that if I have to use this mana drain, I get it on my next turn.
Yeah. Baragoyf gonna hit the field for Chris.
That's a large guy.
It's a big Goyf.
Land instant sorcery, I believe.
Ooh.
Ticking down the Narset, and we are finding the Jace, and I have been playing Jace as an answer to Baragoyf for the last couple of weeks.
Seems nice to just constantly get your opponent to have to recast their Baragoyf.
That's right. It's, you know, it's not mana positive for you playing your 4-drop, bouncing a 3-drop, but then getting to untap with it, oh yeah.
Billinghurst as well did choose the Jace over. I saw there was a Blood Moon in there as well.
Sure.
So
wow.
valuing the Jace
Yeah.
over that, which I do think is the right move here. At a minimum, you can, stumble, Chris's pace for
Yep.
2 turns, and then you can start manipulating your top deck.
So I see the perfect answer in hand for Chris. The perfect answer for a Jace the Mind Sculptor is, of course, a Corey Steel Cutter.
Yeah, that is incredibly good. Or a Pyroblast, as it seems.
Okay, so we're going with discard probe to hand size. In your upkeep, cast Pyroblast. The response is a dig through time. 4 mana for the dig through time. Counterspell, spell snare.
Spell snare.
All of this is before the draw step. By the way, we have cast Red Blast, Counterspell, dig through time, spell snare. The Red Blast is still, the Pyroblast, sorry, is still on the stack. We're finding Force of Will, which is exiling a probe.
Well, and a lot of this, right?
Can I please go to my draw step?
Yeah. And so, discussing kind of the back and forth that happened there. One is Chris is forcing Billinghurst to commit a ton of mana.
Yeah.
Prior to the draw step.
That's right. We're down to 1 land here now.
And then, similarly, Billinghurst is investing a lot of resources into making sure that he can save the Jace, because that is the priority. Like, Jace is such an incredibly strong value piece here. Did we activate Jace this turn?
We did. We brainstormed.
Ah, okay. I personally am a +2 Jace at heart. I love +2 Jace.
I have been there many, many times. I've been an avid Jace the Mind Sculptor fan since I first cast it in Vintage in 2013 or 2014. But sometimes you need to make sure your hand is good first. I'm surprised here to see stock up from Chris over the Baragoyf. I guess the Baragoyf was just going to trade with a -1 from the Jace.
Yeah. Also, you know what I'm hoping for right now? Back to basics.
Yeah, back to basics or Blood Moon. Either is fine here. We have seen the next card down, it looks like. So the players may call a judge over and get an assessment on the correct way to fix that.
Yeah. Brainstorm, unfortunately, does not look at 4 cards.
Yeah.
As much as we'd love it to.
Look,
the closer it could get to an Ancestral Recall, the better.
Magic is difficult, and sometimes you have a little dexterity error and happen to see a card that you weren't supposed to see. Welcome back to the booth. Jim Dowling, Kira Turetsky. We're here to bring you through round 3, but as the players pull up their judge, their local pocket judge, and fix things,
and you can't, our viewers at home can't see this, but there is a back to basics in that Jace brainstorm, and there is 100% chance that Chris is going to want to put that back.
I don't think Chris is going to get the ability to.
Oh.
I mean, I'm
So
not going to
from a
backseat judge.
From a judge's perspective, what is the fix in this situation?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot, and it's possible the table judge will disagree with me, and they've all got their own opinions. The fourth card is still in the same spot. Everyone can confirm that the extra card, it wasn't mixed in with the rest of the hand in any way. It has been seen rather than drawn.
Yeah.
In
So
which case,
seeing extra cards.
I would call looking at extra cards, and we can shuffle that away and continue. Well, let's look through some of the cool info we have while we wait here. I want to look at the pointed cards.
Ooh,
from
yes.
today.
Let's look at the pointed cards. Whoa! This graphic is so beautiful.
Yeah, I made this.
You're so talented.
I didn't make this. Someone else made this.
You are so incredibly talented
Yeah.
to have made this beautiful, beautiful graphic.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to quickly put us back down to the table just briefly, as we see that Chris Tong was not happy with the resolving back to basics.
Yeah.
And they're going to game 3. And then we're going to look back at this this pretty graphic while they're sideboarding, while they're going into game 3 here. These are the most played pointed cards today.
Whee! Look at that.
Force of Will,
Yep.
definitive in the format, played in like 45% of decks today.
Yes.
Mental Misstep in 41% of decks today, and then it goes down a little bit. Almost all of the, well, I guess half of the blue decks are playing Force of Will and Misstep, and then there's a lot of division whether you're playing, are you playing Grixis and playing your Tamiyo and your Orcish Bowmasters? Are you playing Nardu and playing Nardu? Off the bottom of that list, of course, you're going to find all of the other points. Strip Mine, there's a Wasteland to go with it.
Yes,
Plenty of other things.
the number of copies of cards that are being played in teams of 5, there was too many to put on the graphic, is what I will say.
That's right.
And so I selfishly put Strip Mine on there because that's my favorite.
Another look here at the cards that were updated last week. All of these cards got an extra point, and all of them are seeing play this weekend.
Really impressive that someone has still made the decision to play Black Lotus.
Actually, I don't think there's any Deadpools. But yes, there is still a Black Lotus, a Storm deck in the room. 5 points for that, joining Ancestral Recall and Time Walk as the most expensive cards. We don't want them to be everywhere in the format. You can play them if you want. They're still good.
Do you think there's an argument, if we're seeing no Grixis decks are playing are playing Deadpool. We have a graphic as well. We got someone asking what percentage of decks are on Brainstorm. There is a graphic for that, which is the most played unpointed cards.
20 of our 24 players playing Brainstorm. I'm not a mathematician, but that's somewhere between 83 and 84%. That's a lot.
That's a lot of people playing Brainstorm.
Wowee. 14 Thought Seizers, 13 Dismembers, half the field on Lightning Bolts. And then you can see some green cards.
You can see some green cards, and those are for the Nadu players in the room.
Yeah, Nadu. I mean, there's a couple of other non-blue lands players in the room as well. Some green black and some green white, I believe. So pretty cool to see. Well, the players are drawing their 7s. Let's see what we can see here for game 3.
Game 3. 2 very quick games in succession.
Oh yeah. Going in opposite directions as well. Looks like Chris not happy with the 7. Going to be taking a mulligan. And Billinghurst putting it face down on the table like that signifies a keep to me.
Ooh-wee. I will say, I love a keepable hand in Blue Moon. Because sometimes, and again, I will say, sometimes it's sketchy. And on the play, on the draw, you are given a little bit more grace to be able to mulligan aggressively to your threats.
Yep.
Because you get the card off of the draw.
Yeah. What do you think about Lutri in Blue Moon? Is it the only way to build the deck? Is there some other points configuration where you could jam those points into I don't even know what Tamiyo? They keep pointing all these blue cards.
Yeah, so the list that I was on previously had Tamiyo in it, and it went to 9 points because Tamiyo went to 2.
Yep.
I briefly mentioned, I was in there's a lovely server of competitive ladies, and other non-binary pals who are playing competitive Magic.
Yep.
And I, was kind of bemoaning, saying, like, I don't think I want to play Lutri anymore at 3 points in this deck.
Mm.
And a bunch of the other people who have played far more Magic than me were like, whoa. I think Lutri just got better.
Yeah?
And I haven't played enough with like a new deck that doesn't have Tameo in it to better explain that.
Okay. So, I mean, it got better by way of the metagame shifts around it.
I think that's exactly what they're saying.
You know, Lutri, an anemic card against, say, Storm, for example, you know, it's just slow
Yeah.
and doesn't really do anything. But if the field is full of, you know, Nadu decks, for example, maybe you do have the time for Lutri.
And the other thing too is there is nothing wrong, and I think Ian said this earlier. There's nothing wrong with an 8th card in hand.
Yeah. Well, unless the judge is watching, but
the ephemeral idea of
Yeah.
the 8th card.
yeah.
The platonic ideal of
Yep.
the 8th card.
There is, of course, one Lurus in the room as well to go with these Lutris. We saw that round 1, Richard Owen playing, not Storm, playing a Grixis Tempo list. Delver of Secrets, DRC, lower to the ground than the Grixis we're being accustomed to seeing, like Chris is playing.
Galvanic Discharge is going to introduce energy into the equation, and there is one more energy left over.
Yeah, you know, I don't have an overlay element for that one. And I don't think I'll be adding it. We do have an energy counter on screen for you, though.
Look, energy, it's there, and it's being tracked. Tameo in hand for Chris, so he's clearly favoring Tameo still even at 2 points.
What if we had like a graphic that was like little electrical static, and we ticked it up every time the player had energy, and like just over like their side of the board or maybe their nameplate.
Crackle, crackle.
Yeah.
Well, see, then we would have had to create an entire set of storm
I'll
lightning clouds for Richard.
I'll get my graphic designer onto that. Hey Kira.
Yeah. What can I do for you?
Can you make that?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Well, here we see the Tameo eating a flame slash, 4 damage to that one.
Well, because initially there was a counter spell. There's a counter spell underneath the flame slash. I think I momentarily lost track of it while I was writing down notes for the next graphics I have to make. There was counter spell, which was met by a force of will, which then flame slash on the Tameo. There was a little bit of back and forth there.
Oh yeah, yeah. These players are playing very fast. Emperor of Bones made a discharge. You're right. The Tameo made a counterspell, made a force of will, and then the Tameo made a flame slash, and a stock up looking to
Eats a mana drain.
looking to recharge. Instead, Billinghurst getting 3 free colorless mana, and that means that a Blood Moon could cost 1, a Back to Basics could cost 1, a Jace the Mind Sculptor could cost 2.
Lutri is free.
Luci's is free.
Buying Lutri is free this turn for Billinghurst with that 3 floating mana.
I would
But
do
it's
that.
gonna be it's back to basics.
I would do that after resolving this thread here.
And then there's a Jace.
Oh, Chris, you didn't like the back to basics last game. I got bad news for you. It is back to basics.
When it looks like there's only a swamp that'll be untapping on Chris's side as well.
That was 2 lands put back for Billinghurst there, so keeping all the gas.
Whee!
But now we get to untap, keep this Jason play.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, don't
The steam-
untap that.
Remember,
Steam
Billinghurst, it applies to your lands
And
too.
we are going aggressive with this Jace the Mind
Yes!
Sculptor.
+2 Jace. +2 Jace. We're gonna buy Lutri and put it in the hand. I already, before Billinghurst slammed the back to basics and I went, whoa, there's a Jace in hand, he was way ahead of me. He was like, don't worry, I'll do both.
And Chris Tong, you can't see it on the camera here, but the body language a little deflated, a little less chipper than perhaps any previous matchups here.
Tries to resolve a Baleful Strix, eats a Daze.
Okay, but it was off a basic island, so
Yay!
we have a game here. Now this Jace, no longer allowed to play super aggressive, does get to draw some cards.
Wowee. Billinghurst taking a spell snare off of that is what I saw.
The important note for this Jace ticking up to 3 is that it's no longer susceptible to land Lightning Bolt. Although I think there's only one untapped red source in the deck now. Volcanic Island Steam Vent's already tapped. And Raucous Theatre, that one's not going to work. We're looking for Badlands.
Yet again, Grixis players who are falling to the not playing one basic mountain. I have noticed this across a lot of Grixis decks, and there's been some discussion of, man, we should really be playing one basic mountain for the Blue Moon players. and then they don't do it.
This is a Brainstorm whole priority loot tree, by the way. We've resolved the copy of Brainstorm, and then with the second Brainstorm on the stack, we are cracking this fetch land.
Wow. Secret tech.
How-
Secret tech unlocked.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that one player is allowed to have 6 lands in play, and the other one's only got 2.
Well, and something that's what I was gonna say. It's great that Christopher has his basic island and basic swamp, but those are the only basics in the entire deck.
Yeah.
And you're really restrained going forward on your single use lands. There is a Gloomlake Verge in Chris's deck, which will be a one-time use case card, but that's kind of it. And that what can you do with 3 mana, which is really only 2.5?
Mystic Sanctuary putting mana drain back on the top here. The loot tree is in play, so the clock has started. And now this mana drain is in hand. You know about it. That's got to feel bad for you. The reason though to eschew the basic mountain, in my opinion, my uneducated, I haven't played a pile of Grixis, is that most of the time when you're worried about these effects, it's specifically Blood Moon. It's specifically all your non-basics become mountains.
Billinghurst lays down every single counter spell that he has in hand and says, one way or another, the otter will win.
And that's a nice way to sort of conserve your mental energy there. Sort of putting it all face up on the table and showing your opponent, hey, you might think that you've got the game, but I have this many. You have to play through all of this.
Yeah. By the way, not only is there 1 counterspell, not only is there 2 counterspells, there's 4 counterspells, and I'm going to just keep going crazy mode with it.
That's right. Welcome back here to the booth. Jim Dowling, Kira Turetsky. That was round 3.
Woo-wee!
We've got 2 more rounds still.
2 more rounds before a cut to top 8, and the players that are going into, and above, like, the 16th spot will get some really awesome prizes today. First place is going to be taking home a foil Mercadian Masks Brainstorm.
That's so
and
sweet.
for how many people in the room are playing Brainstorm, I think there's a lot of people who would be happy to have that.
Can you imagine being the 1 in 6 people in the room not playing Brainstorm and winning, like, your prize for the day is congratulations. Try this card.
Hey, have you considered Brainstorm, actually?
Yeah. There's also some sweet trophies.
Yes!
They look sick.
There will be pictures of the trophies going up later for sure, but everyone today is going to be taking home a Plenty of Games Hog Invitational 2025 trophy. There are silver trophies that is going to be 9th through 24th, and then there are gold trophies for everyone who places in the top 8.
Is there one for the commentators?
No, but I know where there's some extra trophies hanging out that we can take home. But
the trophy shop.
Hilariously, they say Pog Champion, like Plenty of Games Champion, which I think is really fun because champion of what? That's for us to know and you to find out.
All right. Well, that's gonna do us for round 3 here. We'll be back with round 4. It's gonna be a bit of a longer break. That was a fast match. We've still got 20 minutes on our clock here.
Oopsies.
But we've got some coverage from the November event, so you can tune in and watch that. We'll see you soon.